time to talk about Wireworld cables. My history with Wireworld cables is fairly extensive. I got my first pair probably back in 2017 or 18. I ended up getting a pair of Wireworld Luna and ended up subsequently getting some speaker cables of theirs, digital cables, and others as well. But I ended up getting rid of most of them with the exception of the digital cables. I still have a Wireworld USB, coaxial, and the Supernova optical cable, which I use on a regular basis and I love. Yeah, pretty extensive. And I recently got a new component. I ended up kind of moving my Emotiva power amp out of the system and ended up getting a set of Yallerhorn power amps, running them as monoblocks. And I ended up deciding to get a few different Wireworld cables. I've got a Luna set of Luna XLRs that I've got running out of this into the monoblocks. And then I bought 3 pair of the Luna Stream interconnects, which is what this is. And actually was really pleasantly surprised, because in the past when I used Wireworld cables, I always came away with the impression of very etched, very ragged sounding in a way, kind of like almost kind of too much of a good thing. Great clarity, great representation of soundstage and so forth, but very kind of ragged sounding. This time, particularly with the Stream, I'm actually very, very impressed. The build quality on the Stream is very, very nice, very well made. Actually, I like the build quality on these better than the more expensive Lunas, but I just pulled these out of the system because I'm actually listening to some music. But anyway, work well, build quality is fantastic. Connection-wise, they fit on very firm and snug. Very, very nice cables. Very, very, very well made. Historically, my preference for audio gear has always been more on kind of the warmer side. I don't really care so much about detail and spatial resolution and these sorts of attributes of hi-fi so much as I care about just sort of having a pleasurable quality to the music. You know, if I have to give up soundstage, if I have to give up clarity to get it, well, then I'm going to do it, because for me, having that sense of warmth and just that pleasurableness to music has always been the utmost what I look for. And that was until I got the Air. And the Air is very much kind of a best of all worlds kind of thing. You get the great clarity, the great sound staging, the great kind of inner details, but at the same time, it's inherently musical, and it comes across as sounding very pleasurable, and just everything you run through it just sounds good, as opposed to something like, just off the top of my head, Parasound equipment, where it's kind of very neutral sounding in the sense that you get great sound staging, great clarity, but it has this sort of detached quality to the music when you're listening, to the point where what you end up hearing is you're thinking about what you're listening to as opposed to simply enjoying what you're listening to. And the Air, again, is kind of a best of all worlds. And perhaps that's why in the past with Wireworld cables, it was just not a good pairing with warm equipment. For me, that kind of maybe contributed to what I experienced with sort of this ragged quality. Particularly with the Streams, I noticed these are a very balanced sounding in a way. They don't really favor one thing or the other, but what they possess is this sort of fullness to them. One thing that the Air does that is sort of not its best attribute is it kind of, in terms of absolute sonic mass, it can come across as sort of thinner sounding than some other gear in terms of that sonic mass. But with the Stream, I noticed using these in particular, but also with the Luna, the XLRs I've got hooked up, it kind of brings a lot of that back. And so it brings me in the mind of system matching is important, very important. If you've got a bright system, you want to pair it with warmer cables. It just makes sense. They complement one another. Vice versa, if you've got a warm system, you want to try to pair them with kind of brighter cables. Otherwise, you end up with too much of a good thing. But yeah, overall, very impressed with Wireworld cables. Very, very enjoyable. Very, very lovely to listen to. and just great quality. I recommend them. Actually, when I get paid coming up again, I'm going to be purchasing a few of their power cables to run off the air, and of course the Yaller horns as well, and kind of trying that out. That's basically it. I kind of tried to want to keep the video simple and easy, and yeah, anyway, peace out, stay tuned.